What's up, dudes? Alanip here, and I've got a game in the background, sort of, which I won't really talk about. It was a game that I got the other day, actually, and I wasn't recording at the time, so it's in theatre mode. But I get kicked out the game, and a bunch of my friends during the game at around like 7 minutes. We get kicked out for some reason. But some of us didn't, some of us did. It was strange. But what I wanted to talk about is the progression of COD. Me and my friend popped on Modern Warfare like a day or so ago. That's not really that important, but anyway, we popped on Modern Warfare 2, and it sort of like hit me. Infinity Ward has sort of been the company in like the sort of COD series. Just think about this, right? So there's Infinity Ward. They made probably the two of the most sort of, if you want to say, revolutionary. I don't know if that's the correct word for that word, but anyway, basically they were the ones that sort of made COD what COD is today. What I mean by that is Call of Duty 4, for example. It was the first game like that with modern weapons. So they realised that everybody's tired of shitty World War II guns. They added perks. They had some kill streaks. There was, you know, things like that. Like customization was new, and they took a big gamble. You know, they could have stuck with what works, but no, they expanded on it. And then came Call of Duty 5. They didn't really have anything new in it, if you think about it. Just, they didn't really have anything that was new. What they did was sort of perfect it. Yes, they did the bad gun choices, blah blah blah, but the core game, they sort of perfected it. They perfected it, and they went with what worked. So they didn't really gamble, which is a safe gamble. Who wouldn't do a safe gamble? You know, it didn't pay off as much as Infinity Ward's games did, but they went with it, you know. And then came Modern Warfare 2, and boy did they add a lot of things to it. Like they added, you know, there's customizable kill streaks. You know, you get to customize your emblems, titles, you unlock things. There was a lot of guns. There was attachments. There was like 10 attachments. All we got in the games before was like 3 on each, which is like red dot silencer and like ACOG, and that was pretty much it. They added a lot of things. Perks. Perks got a pro version of perks and things like that. You know, so once again they took a huge gamble, which was just amazing. You just think about this, like, yes, you know, called Modern Warfare 2, what it came today is not the perfect game, but when it came out, boy, was the game just, it was just excellent. You know, it was the things that we never had, and beyond what I wanted in the game. I would have been happy if they would just had it like Call of Duty 4, but the things that they added in the game, I thought it was excellent, and it did work very good. So if you think about it, Treyarch hasn't really done anything up to this point. You know, there was Call of Duty 4, boom, groundbreaking with all the perks and things like that, kill streaks, you know, and blah blah blah. Then Call of Duty 5, why did they go back in World War II? I'm not sure. Maybe they just were trying to explore, see if they could add their sort of perks and things like that in World War II, and it'll be just as good. But they learned from their mistakes, and it wasn't as good. But they perfected the game. You know, they perfected the kill streaks, the perks, and things like that, and it was a working game, if you want to say. And then came Modern Warfare 2, which was probably the biggest sort of groundbreaking and like idea game of Call of Duty so far, the Call of Duty series. The things that game added into it hasn't been met by one game yet. Call of Duty 4, I think, came very close because there wasn't one like this before. But I think it's harder to advance from the idea once you have the idea. I don't know if that made quite a lot of sense, but this is what I mean. Basically, they got the idea of making a modern day shooter, so they made it and they added the ideas that they had, and that worked very good. As you can check how successful Call of Duty 4 was, and it's still a legendary game. But I think what's harder is actually sort of like advancing forward from the idea you had. If you get my drift, as they say, you get what I'm saying, y'all dogs. And then came Black Ops. Sure, they added currency, but that's not new to any type of game. You know, sure they did do that, but currency wasn't exactly the groundbreaking thing. And they took customization forward, but apart from a new thing added, they haven't really done anything. Don't get me wrong, Black Ops is probably the best Call of Duty ever. It's balanced, it's great, but this is what they did. They perfected the game, right? So they didn't take a gamble. They played it very safely, and they perfected the game. They took what works, they made it better, they tweaked it, and they played it safe, if you want to say, which isn't a bad thing. I'm not saying this, definitely not a bad thing. I'm happy they did this. I am very pleased with the Black Ops game, and I think it's an excellent game. But here I'm talking about the progression in Call of Duty. So if you think about it, we gotta thank Infinity Ward. Everybody gives them crap and things like that, but if it weren't for that company, we would not have Black Ops. You know, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but that's what I'm thinking. If it wouldn't be for that company, I think the company is actually really excellent. Infinity Ward, the ideas they come up with is just great, but I think they don't sort of perfect their idea. Do you know what I'm saying? The ideas are amazing. The idea is very sort of wide range, if you want to say, and it's excellent, you know, but when they do it, it sort of like didn't come out good. If you want to say it looks good on the paper, once they did it, it didn't do that good. And then the game after that, which is usually a Treyarch game, usually perfects the idea and makes it excellent. So you see what I'm saying? Basically, I think we've got to thank Infinity Ward. But here, if you notice in the game, I got kicked and a bunch of my friends did, so it sort of skipped to other player and then I cut it. So thank you for listening to my commentary, and tell me in the comments, do you agree with me, do you disagree with me, or let's have a little conversation or everything. So thank you for watching, give me a thumbs up, and I will see you later, guys.